What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I'm Craig, and we are going to be taking a look at the charts today. Bitcoin is dumping. Will it continue? We're going to talk about that. We'll also look at our targets. We'll look at what price points we need to watch to see if it breaks upward or to the downside. My bias is to the downside, as it has been for a very long time, and our targets have been nailing it. If you've been watching this channel, you know this. Also, if you guys would take a second out, scroll down, smash that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, make sure you smash that notification bell. That'll get you notified when I post new videos, as I do daily updates Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekend if something crazy is going on, but definitely Monday through Friday we do morning updates here. Also, if you enjoy the content, make sure you share the video, get it out there. But the best thing you can do for this channel is make sure you smash those thumbs up. That really helps the YouTube algorithm, and I do appreciate it. But today we're going to be taking a look at the Dow, then we'll look at the DXY, then we'll look at Bitcoin in the daily and the 4-hour, and then we'll go out to the bigger time frames. Also, stick around to the end because we're going to look at some targets and some charts that are a year old, some of them older, for gold, silver, Ethereum, Litecoin, and XRP, and see how they're playing out. So definitely stick around for the whole video. We're going to pack a little bit more than usual into this. It is Monday. I like to do my Monday videos a little more in depth. So let's check it out. As of right now, the Dow futures are down 241 points, S&P down 31.5 points, and NASDAQ's down 104.5 points, so 104.5. So let's take a look at what's going on. The Dow Jones, if you watched last week's video, I had said any close below this 31,220 looks like there would be more downside for Bitcoin over the weekend, and that's exactly what happened. We closed below it. We've been watching this falling channel. We knew that this should be the top up here when the RSI hit, and this hit the top of the channel. And nevertheless, we went down. I do think we come down to at least touch this. This may break. If this breaks, it's going to get bad for Bitcoin, this bottom trend line on the RSI as of right now. But that 31,220 is still our resistance area. If we do get a rally, that's as high as I see us going. But now we do have this smaller channel right here, and that target is going to be around 31,000. So if we can't get above 31,000 points, more downside is in the cards for Bitcoin. So the Dow is going to be pretty important today to watch carefully. I know a lot of people like to watch the S&P, the Russell, things like that, but the Dow has been the leading indicator for all this stuff. In my opinion, if you watch this channel, you see the results. So I do think as long as we don't get above this 31,000, then the 31,220, that our next target's around this 28,000. If that breaks, guys, our target after that's around 22.7, 22.8, and then of course all the way down to here. Now that doesn't mean it drops straight down like it did over here. This will probably take time, but as you notice, this is just one big trend line. I do think we get another touchdown to these areas. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But so far, everything's playing out beautifully. Let's take a look at the Dow in the big picture. This is kind of scary to those that don't want to believe it or just think it's impossible. It's a lot of people laugh at it, but this is very possible. If you look at the market structure that we're having right now and then look at before 1929 crash, almost an identical chart. Let me move this over so you can see where it goes. Very low. That is not a recession, that is a depression. Could we be seeing something like that? Very possible. Let's take a look at the charts. This is the DXY. We are getting supported above all the EMAs right now. Still bullish on that. My next two areas to watch, if it breaks this 109.50 area, then your next support's going to be around 108.50. Right now, it does look very bullish to me. Let me look at it in the daily. Look at the bigger picture. As you guys know, I'm looking for this 112 to 113 range. And if that does break, then our next target is this 122. If that breaks, it is on. And that would show the the collapse of the Dow, which would be all markets. Remember, guys, when they try to scare people out of the dollar by inflation and telling people the dollar is going to zero, the dollar is not going to be worth anything, buy gold, buy silver, buy the S&P, buy whatever, hedge with Bitcoin. You hear all that stuff. They scare people out of the dollar while they get into the dollar, while the markets crash, and then they get back in the markets at the bottom and ride it back up while everybody else lost a ton of money on the way down. So, but if that 122 passes, my target of this falling wedge, which we broke out of way back here, is around 178. That could take a year, could take 2 years, could take 5, could take 10. Who knows? We'll be keeping an eye on it. If you guys are interested in trading, definitely check out Prime XBT, by far my favorite exchange. They don't trade against you. You don't get the scam wicks like you get in the other scam exchanges. There's a link down below. You can use my promo code Savvy50. That'll get up to a $7,000 bonus. Savvy25 will get you 25% off your fees. There is a contest section on there where you can join the contest and actually use zero risk. It's just play money, so you get used to the platform. But if you win, you can actually win tradable money. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. And there is also a tutorial on my YouTube page. Just go to my YouTube page, YouTube homepage, and you'll see the Prime XBT tutorial with some other tutorials there that are very helpful. All right, so looking at the big picture here, you see this falling wedge. And then if we look at it in the RSI, we have the same thing, a falling wedge in the RSI also. We were expecting a rejection at the top of this, which we got. Now we're going to zoom in to the daily, look at our targets, then we're going to look at the 4 hours, zoom in a little bit more. So let's see what's going on here. What I do think we're seeing here is something like this. Now, I know I've been talking about, which we'll look at in a little bit, that Amazon to Bitcoin comparison chart since December 2nd has been playing out absolutely beautifully. And we're going to take a look at what happens if it plays out like that. We get a false bottom around 75 to 8,500, get a rally into next year, and then get our lows below 5,000, possibly around 38K or 3,800 next year. But there is a possibility that we could see that bottom this year around November or towards the end of this year. So let's take a look at that. So if it does play out like this, we could see that right around the end of October, beginning of November, down to our target range. Let me get this out of the way and I'll show you what I'm looking at. So as of right now, if you look right here, this does look like a descending triangle. And if we take a measured move of the descending triangle from the top to the bottom, put it over here where we have broken, we did break that. Let's see where the daily closes. But if the daily does close below this, which currently is sitting around 18,650, that would confirm a break of this. To me, that measured move is all the way down to that 36 to 3,800 range. Now, that doesn't mean we go straight down. We'll probably get a bounce somewhere in this area, the 14.5 to 15.5, maybe even come back up to test that 19.5 before continuing down. Either way, I do think this is bad news for Bitcoin, unless, here is the catch. If we get above this falling trend line, which is the top of the falling wedge, if we get above that, and as of right now this moves daily, right? So as of right now, if we were to get up here and break this, it would have to break the 22,350 range. If that breaks, then we can start to possibly look at bullish cases after that. But until then, it is looking like more downside is in the cards. But if we break this, that could change. If we do break this, I would want to see a daily open and close above that, because you can always get scam wicks to trap everybody up here and continue down. So be aware of that. But let's look at where we're at on this. We did break this bottom here. We have plenty of room on the RSI to the downside. That doesn't mean we can't bounce around in this area for a few days and then continue down. So that if we do that, we may see bouncing around on this for a couple days before continuing to the downside. But after that, you guys know my targets, right around that 14.5 to 15.5 possible bounce there, and then a continuation down. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, as you can see, our trend line down here got broken yesterday. I did expect that. Now, if we do come back up to retest this, keep an eye on this. Let me get this out of here. That shouldn't be on the 4 hour. That was from the daily. So let me get this off there. So if we get back up here to retest this, I do expect a rejection and a continuation to the downside if the RSI is to get all the way back up and test this trend line. Now on the price, where would that lead us? Possibly up to this 8 EMA, which is around the 19,000. So it is possible we get up and retest that 19,000 range. But as of right now, it isn't looking like it's going to get anything above there. But remember, these EMAs, can you see how accurate these are for support and resistance, right? And these EMAs are, the yellow one is 55, blue is 21, white is 13, red is 8, and then we have our 200 all the way up here. So we talked about this last week. If we broke up above the 55, we could look for the 2,100 range. Now we would move that down to around the 20,800, possibly lower, because obviously this is going to the downside now. But I do believe we remain under this 18.6, guys. If we remain under this 18.6, it could be a year or more before we see 20,000 again. I'm not saying that's for sure that's going to happen, but I'm telling you it's a very good possibility as of right now. We'll keep an eye on it. But right now we are bouncing around this support resistance range. It does look like, let me move this line a little bit. It looks like I don't have it accurately to the bottom. So let's do this. Get it down to the bottom of these wicks. I know a lot of people like to use the bodies of the candle. I like to use the wicks. That's one more thing. When you're watching this RSI, remember that the candle, the RSI follows the body of the candle, not the wick. So if the 4 hour comes up here, you know, and hits as high as the 21 EMA around 19.5, and then comes back down and closes below, that's what you got to watch for on the RSI, is the close. So right now, on the 4 hour, this trend line is at about 18,660. So as of right now, we're getting support on it, right? Like I said, we could come up and get this 8 before continuing down. So keep an eye on that. That would also line up with these lows over here. But either way, once we break this again, I think we are headed down to our lower targets. That's what I'm looking at here. Let's take a look at the monthly. The monthly, as you guys know, our monthly resistance, we can actually move this down more, is our 21 EMA, which right now is around 24,000. We've been watching this for a while. Not looking too promising for the bulls because the RSI trend line has broken here. We've been talking about this for quite a while. This RSI, I know a lot of people like to look at the weekly, but if you look at the monthly, this RSI has a long ways to go, guys. All right, this is the weekly chart, the .com scam washout over here, and what I believe is going to be the crypto scam washout, with all the scammy altcoins and everything kind of just get washed out through here. Now, this would be what I was talking about the false bottom. You can see we had a false bottom over here, and a lot of people say crypto moves a lot faster than traditional markets. That is not true. This is traditional markets here, and these are weekly candles. These are weekly candles. This is Bitcoin. It's not moving any faster in the macro. And like I said, first we're going to watch for this false bottom, the end of this year. So if we get in between the 75 and 85 around the end of this year, that's where I expect the false bottom to be. Remember, we could go much quicker. If we hit the lower lows, then possibly we bottom this year. But 75 to 8,500. And then if you'll notice here, this was 100%, a little over 100% correction to the upside. So everyone got really bullish. So if we do hit the 75 to 8,500 around November, maybe a good place to put in a long position or buy some Bitcoin for the rally into next year before the real bottom. I do believe this will be a false bottom. Again, this is going to be timing, so make sure you are watching this channel. Another thing I want to point out in the RSI over here, you can tell when this trend line broke on the weekly, that was right here. Everyone got extremely bullish. It broke a long-term weekly trend line, and all it did was come back down to retest the top, making a lower low. That's what I believe will possibly happen over here. It does seem to be playing out. Let me move it over so you can see. It does seem to be playing out the same way as this played out over here, right? So we'll see what happens here, but it does look very interesting. Seems to be playing out beautifully. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see that on December 2nd, I made a video talking about all this before anybody else was talking about it. Now everyone's talking about it, acting like they're a genius, but go check out my YouTube page. You'll see it playing right when you open the page. All right, let's take a look at, this is another look at the weekly. We had these measured moves in here, and this next measured move, looking at this as a rising broadening wedge, would get us down to that 14.5. That's why I said look for a bounce there if we get down to there. Also, we have these flag pulls from this bear flag. Whoops, move that back. From this bear flag, we put it down to the break of the wedge, which was the bear flag, and that got us to this low. And then we bring that down here, and if it does the same thing, that gets us down to approximately the 8,500. So a lot of things pointing down to these ranges. Like I said, look for a bounce around that 14.5 if we break the 17.5, 14.5 to 15.5, right? Don't know exact, obviously. Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. So far, our target's been pretty damn accurate. This is why I believe it'll be a longer bear market than people believe. If you're looking at, this is the Amazon chart. I believe we're right in this area right now. And you can see 2 to 3 years for this bottom to form. Everybody's looking for a double bottom in the daily and in the 4 hour. That's not how you're going to find a macro bottom, guys. It's going to be, if you move this out of the way, you can see how this bottom formed. Just go across here. And what did it do? It made, see the inverse head and shoulders here. It made a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then breakout. That took about 2 years for the bottom to develop. And then to break the all-time high was 10 years. But remember, there are some bubble pops that have been 15 and 20 years and still haven't reached their all-time highs. So there's no guarantees in any markets, guys. I don't care what the asset is. People say you can't compare gold with Bitcoin. You can't compare Bitcoin with pet rock. You can't. It doesn't matter. These are markets. Charts don't lie. A market is a market. I don't care what it is. Big players are still just trying to get money out of the markets, as much money as possible. Once you realize that, trading will become much easier for you. Looking at gold, this chart is about a year old, still looking for our target around 1561. We could go much lower than that. Remember that. But this has been my target for about a year now. Now let's take a look at silver. Same thing with silver. 1550 has been my target for about a year now. Could go much lower, but that has been my target for a year. Ever since we broke over here in July of 2021, that was our target from this rising wedge breakdown. We also had this target here, looking at it as a rising channel, was the 20. I'd said once we break 20, look for 1550. 20 should become our resistance, which it has. Same with Ethereum. We made our first target back here in December of 21 when this broke. Actually, yeah, December of 21, December 2nd. Same time I made the Amazon compared to Bitcoin chart. We had the target of 1919. I told you if that broke, we'd be looking for 692 to 700 range, and then 309. It is playing out so far. 1919 is major resistance. And if we zoom in here, guys, we have broken this trend line right here. If we cannot get back above this 1350, our next target is 700. And after that, obviously around 300 is a very good possibility. Be careful, be cautious. XRP, this chart is also a year old. We made this target back here at the break of this back in December. First target was 30,000. And then we formed this triangle right here. And we came up with the target at 18 cents. Now, I still believe that's a very good possibility. I know everybody got extremely bullish on this huge pump right here. Look how huge that was. Guys, you got to zoom out and look at the big picture here. I do think we'll come back down to this 30,000 or 30 cent range. If that breaks, we should be looking around 18 cents. Litecoin, this target is also a year old from December 2nd when we broke this trend line. Our target from here is 24.23. Now let's zoom in. If you guys have been watching, I do updates on Litecoin around once a week. We were looking for the 68.31 target for rejection. Almost hit it. Obviously, these targets can't be dead on to the penny, but it was 67.74. Pretty damn close. And then our breakdown target right here is, put this over here. Approximately, I'm going to put this in here. Get this, let's see. Price label around 36 bucks. Once that, or 35.85. Once that breaks, we'll probably bounce around here for a while. Maybe come back up to these ranges. Once this breaks, we're looking for that $25 range. Could get much, much worse. Like I said, all these could get much worse if Bitcoin really goes that low and washes out a lot of these crap coins. So, all right, guys, thanks again for watching. Don't forget, scroll down, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up, leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think if we've bottomed, if you think we're going to bottom the end of this year, if you think we're going to bottom next year. Let me know your thoughts. I'm real curious to hear what you got to say. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share the video. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you in the next